everybody, welcome to the Fandom Post Radio Podcast. I am your engineer, Kate, and I am joined this week by Kestrel.
Hey, you've downgraded yourself from host.
I'm barely the host, so I'm downgrading myself to what I am, which is the engineer. And
it's
Kane.
It's a cooler title anyway.
It's true.
It really is. It really is. And DJ.
Hey, I'm just some guy.
Nice.
Are you still loaded? Are you still making the big bucks? I haven't talked to you in forever.
I am currently making around 11,000 a month.
Those are large bucks.
That's a lot of bucks.
They're the
That's
same size
bucks.
as the other money. It's more of them.
I would like to believe that you get one of those comically large checks in the mail.
I
every month.
really wish I did.
I choose to believe more that each individual subscriber sends an envelope with like $10 in it every month.
Mm-hmm.
I would also be okay with that.
And so you just get endless cash in the mail every single day.
Can you even you're legally allowed to just mail money, right?
Yeah, it's a horrible idea, but you can do it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't
you
sure
could
if
do it.
there was a rule against it.
No, you just have to hope that you hid the money well enough that nobody opens it up. So
Yeah.
you do constantly run that risk. But yeah, you could totally do it. You want to try it? You can send me some money and then I'll think about sending it back.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Send me your address after this.
Why don't you say it on the air in case your mailman is listening?
Oh, that's a really good idea, actually. I'll also just say all of my personal information, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, how was your drunken revelry at the Otakons?
Not drunk at all.
No. Not at all. But it was fun. It was fun still. I had a good time, at least.
You were just high on con?
Yeah, dude. Adrenaline's a hell of a drug.
High on con and acquiring maple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
That was perhaps the funniest thing that came out of that, was seeing that there was a maple syrup handoff occurring.
It was in the street, too.
Yep.
So it wasn't even indoors.
Legal contraband.
Mm-hmm. No, it was good. Yeah, it was as well run as I expected it to be. And no, I didn't have any weird, awkward, mask-based moments. So all in all, pretty good.
There were a lot of fucking people there.
There were.
Surprisingly, almost the same as any other year.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely thought there would be less, but I guess people are just, clamoring to do something. So
Exactly. Yeah.
100%, yeah. This was like the first big convention back, right?
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Just as everything is locking back down.
Yeah, exactly.
Got that one little bright spot there, and then that's just about it. So
Yeah.
was glad to go. But yeah, I'd be interested, and I don't know if they would ever release these type of numbers to be like, how much money did you make versus how much you spent, like, given the circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they wasted a lot of money from last year, which is why they had to take, like, donations this year to even stay in business. But, I mean, they had cheaper guests this year, and they still got just as many people for just as much money.
Yeah, say that's for sure. They didn't have to fly anybody in. Didn't have to.
Exactly.
Didn't have
Well,
to
I
do
mean,
any.
they still did, just not from Japan.
Oh yeah. Internationally fly people in.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. So, yeah, I would be interested. I mean, I know you get releases of their like turnstile numbers and stuff, but I reckon you could probably look at their earnings report just as you could anybody else, especially since aren't they a nonprofit?
Yeah.
Technically.
Yep.
So yeah, that information should be public if it's like any nonprofit that I know of.
Yeah, I mean, do they have to disclose how much they spend? Because, like, yeah, you can multiply 25 to 30,000 by $100, but I don't know if that accounts for how much they spend.
Right. Well, how many paid staff do they have?
Not too many. I mean, most con staff are volunteers.
Yeah, I know that because MagFest is the same way. Like, there's very few paid versus how many people just get paid in the form of your badge is paid for.
Yeah.
So it's more like a barter than a cash sort of thing. But yeah, it's got to be a small amount. So yeah, overall it was a good experience. Had fun. Would do it again.
Hopefully next time you do it again, it's not during a pandemic.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't think this virus is ever going away.
Yeah, I think it's proven that humanity is just meant to be extinguished at this point. It's going to keep mutating until we're all gone.
Great. Awesome.
I mean, eventually that means there aren't going to be any lines at any cons.
It's true.
We're going to become an anime. Which post-apocalyptic anime do we want to be? I want to be YKK.
We're all going to turn into Tang.
Speaking of anime, I think we should just jump right into news and stuff, because I imagine you got something to talk about, Kestrel.
Speaking of turning into Tang...
Wait, for a second. Does this news doc really go back to the beginning of July?
It sure does, because we haven't recorded a regular episode since June.
Oh no! No!
In fact, our first piece of news from July 1st is announcing a release of something that already happened 2 weeks ago.
Awesome. Can't wait for it to already be out.
Yep. And yeah, my segue there about turning into Tang was all 4 Rebuild of Evangelion movies, including the international premiere of the final one, are going to be / have been up on Amazon Prime Video for 2 weeks.
Okay. I have a friend who keeps yelling, who texted me in the middle of work yesterday yelling at me to watch these movies. Should I watch these movies?
Yes. I mean, you should watch the original series.
Well, that's not anywhere I can get at the moment.
You haven't watched that. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I've watched large portions of it completely out of context over a period of
So you haven't watched it, is basically what you're saying.
Right.
I know the entire plot of the show, and I've seen most of the series, like the keystone moments, to sync up to the plot that I'm aware of.
If it's any consolation, I haven't seen the movies, so...
Still, anyway, the point is, although they should be able to stand alone, I would certainly recommend anyone watch the original series before watching the Rebuild movies. Especially
I don't want to watch any of them at all.
For the things that the final movie does. I think it really helps to have seen everything.
Well, are the movies now the new established canon one? Like, canon in a way now? Because if I remember, the whole tagline leading up to this point when these were releasing is, this is the way that Anno wanted to tell the story. Or whatever.
I don't think they quite used the George Lucas Funimation Dragon Ball Z thing there. It's hard to talk about, but you should see both.
From what my friend described, I will say that it sounds like the entire run of Evangelion is just a look at what's his face's psyche and his emotional state over the course of 20 plus years that he has been building this thing.
Yeah, which is what it's always been. But
yeah,
I mean, there are so many layers to what Evangelion is. So as like its base storyline, it could be interpreted as either standalone or not. Then there are the layers of just, the psychological aspect. Then there are the layers of metafiction within that ties it all together. So, yeah. I'd say
there's the layer of... Then there's the layer of the completely pointless crosses. There's the layer of... There's the PowerPoint slide layer.
Well, that kind of goes in... That's like, the final 2 episodes of the TV series versus End of Evangelion is kind of like... what Evangelion is about, stripped of all the plot, and then the other half of it. And this new movie series has a new 3rd ending, and it kind of stands on its own, and it kind of ties into everything that has existed before. So yeah, it's complicated.
Okay, what's up with Japan? Essentially remaking things and then fucking... Well, okay, yes, but... No, what... Okay. I'll drop the Seinfeld bit for a minute.
Stuff.
The trend right now of adapting or reimagining things and just completely changing stuff because...
That's not really just Japan. Like, I feel like we were doing that way beforehand.
Well, yeah and no. I don't count comic book movies, which are an adaptation where they try to take a bunch of source material and turn it into into one thing. But yeah, and you could say, oh, it's just somebody doing. But usually when you do a remake, you're telling the same story basically. There might be a single like, oh, we're gonna freshen this up by doing this. But for a long time, remakes were just that. You're telling the same story. You're not deviating from it too much. And now we have so many properties that are just like, we're going to retell the story and completely change it.
Yeah, I mean, Rebuild was never necessarily supposed to be a straight remake, because if it was that, then it kind of doesn't have any purpose to exist. Like, yeah, the animation's a little cleaner, but it only really has value because it goes on its completely own path.
I think there is a purpose if it was a complete remake, and that is the sheer amount of dollar bills associated with releasing these movies.
That's true.
I don't think talking about it in terms of a purpose narratively is applies to Evangelion, because they could have released movies with the same animation quality in 4:3 and it'd probably still make $1 million. Billion.
But they do that. They can just keep re-releasing the original, and they do, and they make all that money. But this was about Anno actually trying to, tell a story the way that he could from how he's grown over the past. Well, it took longer for the Rebuild series to complete than it did for Evangelion to get rebooted in the first place. But anyway, over the course of that time, he grew a lot, and his creative style changed a lot, and you can see that evolution represented in his work. So I think, Anno, I'm sure he doesn't hate making shitloads of money, but, he still has his principles. It's still an artistic pursuit.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, okay. I don't totally buy that, but...
Ava, again, available on Amazon Prime Video.
You don't buy
now
that Anno has any artistic purpose behind his art?
I don't buy all of it. I don't buy the whole, he still has principles, unless I knew how much money he makes off Evangelion toothbrush head covers. And Evangelion
him and Miyazaki are just
paper.
Back there looking at boobs. They're over there looking at titties.
Yeah, so I'm sure there is some, but also there's definitely, he likes making money and likes the insane amount of merchandise properties, and I could never be convinced otherwise that part of making some of it also keeps that money flowing, and that there is a section of his brain that does that. Just because...
Yeah, it's his job. It's to make money. Of course that's the primary reason, but that doesn't mean he can't be artistic within that.
Right. No. I'm saying I agree with you, I just don't think, it's 100% one way or the other. It's just, I'm sure there's some artistic stuff that he wants to do and change, but also he needs to keep making content so they can keep making merchandise.
He's an artist that's good at what he does. He can say something or he doesn't have to.
Yeah. I mean, he is a businessman who is passionate and creative about his work, which is fine.
Businessman.
Yeah.
DJ, when are you going to start getting merch?
Actually, this month. I am in the process of doing that. I just have to finish the current update, and then I should have a day to sort of get that all together. It was one of the big stretch goals. When we hit 10,000, I'm going to start putting out merch.
What's your first piece of merch going to be?
Just a shirt. The game has a smiley face logo, and it would just be that on a black shirt. So, I'm doing a bunch of stuff. I wanted to do Dakimakura, but they are really fucking expensive to design. Over $1,000 per
shit.
Per design. Then that comes with rights and everything, but the issue is there are 35 different characters in my game, and so it would be hard picking and choosing who gets them and who doesn't. It's also a big investment. So one day I would like to have that. Right now I can't. So
that's the super donor stretch goal. Vote on which one of these gets turned into this thing.
Yeah, that's how.
That's when you run the Kickstarter and you say, hey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, body pillow. That's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm like, okay, that sounds expensive. Why does a body pillow cost that much?
Well,
just a fucking
they
pillowcase.
retail, like the good ones retail for $140.
That's
So
dumb.
yeah, if
the
you sell
stain-proof
like
ones?
9 of them, you're gonna
Nice.
Or if you sell like 10, you're making
Ew.
a profit. And after that, it's just like, okay, I own the rights to the image. I can do whatever I want with it, so on and so forth.
The non-stick ones.
Very important.
Yep.
By the way, something I didn't mention about this news story, these movies came with new dubs when they got put up on Amazon Prime Video. And you might think, of course that would be the new cast that they cast for the Netflix dub. Nope,
my God.
not even a little bit.
Oh my
God.
How many
It's-
fucking dubs
it's
does this
back
series
to-
have now?
So it's back to mostly the ADV cast. More of
What?
them. Yup. More of them than the Funimation dubs of these same movies had. Some of the same actors who redubbed some of the same lines under different directions. Some of the lines are now different because of translation changes. And pretty much everyone that Funimation cast from like their Dallas talent pool, they recast with new people if they couldn't get the ADV people back, or they just were new characters to rebuild. So they basically just threw out everyone who Funimation added to it. So of course this has zero overlap with the new Netflix dub, which is, the quote official dub of the original series and End of Evangelion and all that.
Except the release is getting the original series and the original dub. So continuity.
Well, yeah, so I said official dub because that's how it's labeled. You get, for the Ultimate Edition anyway, which sold out in 8 hours, it includes the official dub and subtitles and the classic dub and subtitles. So they want to make sure that that, the one that says, the third children and Kaoru says, I like you, is official, and the other one is like, just kind of a fan thing. However, they went back to the old fucking cast for these new dubs of the movies for some reason. So at least in terms of continuity, if you want it to be kind of, consistent, you could watch the classic dub on your Ultimate Edition of the original series and End of Evangelion, and then the new Amazon Prime dubs of these rebuild movies, and you'd have a bunch of the people be the same, not all of them. Kaoru, by the way, who appears in the original series for 8.5 minutes, 1 minute
was
of which
that
is yes, in one episode, and 1 minute of those 8.5 is a still frame with no dialogue. That character now has 6 English voice actors.
Oh my god.
Can I get a cut where they combine all the voices together?
There is a comparison video up on like Twitter where they have like 4 different dubs of the same scene. So that's pretty good. Or the same several scenes. But yeah, Kaoru is like, I assume some of you are somewhat familiar with Harry Potter. It's like the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. It always changes. Anytime there's any opportunity, you can never keep the same person in that role. So, yep. On to 6.
Wow.
Yeah, good shit. So, watch in Japanese, because everyone has one voice actor.
What a mess. That's, yeah, okay.
It's so baffling that they would completely throw away all of the old cast to come up with a completely new one, label that the official dub, and then
Only to go back
2 years later, redub the entire rebuild series with the old ADV cast. So bizarre.
Too many cooks.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, let's move on from
Yeah.
Eva.
Alright, so speaking of dubs, it is our, every episode we have to have some tragic piece of news. So this one is veteran dub voice actor Felice Sampler. She's known for a lot of roles in the Digimon franchise. She was also a big actor in Legend of Korra. So she passed away at age 67.
not very old.
Yeah. Very sad. She had a great range. I always was amazed by all the different kinds of roles that she could perform. So, very sad.
Indeed.
Next piece of news. So, Anime Expo Light happened July 4th weekend, and as per usual, most industry panels are completely worthless, but as was announced at the end of last year, there's a Star Wars anime coming, and the Star Wars guys didn't get the memo that your industry panels are supposed to be completely worthless, so they announced a shitload of stuff. Yeah, so it's all...
They were like, this isn't Comic-Con, what?
Yeah, they don't know the difference. They don't know that anime convention industry panels are completely worthless, other than Discotheque. So yeah, they had by far the highlight of Anime Expo Light. So they announced that all of the episodes are being released on September 22nd on Disney Plus in Japanese and English. They announced all of the studios and some of the main staff behind all of the shorts. So it's an anthology. They're all completely unrelated. They don't appear to be particularly canon. They seem to just be like, you know the ideas of Star Wars, just roll with it. So they are... I'll list the studios and some of the notable people involved. So one of them is by Kamikaze Doga, which is the studio that did the JoJo openings and Batman Ninja. Then we've got one by Geno Studio, which was the studio that reformed from the ashes of Monglobe. And then there's one from Studio Colorido, who's done a few things in the past few years. They did like Penguin Highway. Then we've got two from Trigger. So one of them is all the same staff and all the same roles as Promare. And you might be able to tell which one that is because it looks exactly like Promare. And the main character looks exactly like one of the two main characters of Promare. Not the one that looked almost like Kamina, the other one. Yeah, so that's exciting.
He is... I would put him one. Beyond almost.
Yeah, Leo.
He just was Kamina.
Yeah, Leo. Yeah.
See, you say that about him just being Kamina until you see Leo from Promare versus the main character from this Star Wars short by Imaishi. They are like pixel for pixel the exact same character. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so, same director, character designer, animator, animation director, all that shit.
I'll have to look it up. I want to see if it's as close as when Miyazaki basically stole from one of his own Lupin the Third episodes for the Castle in the Sky robot. Because there's a robot in Lupin the Third that is the Castle in the Sky robots.
Yeah,
like
and
pixel
then,
for pixel. Absolutely perfect.
Right. I feel like the Castle in the Sky robots appear in another Miyazaki movie too. He does that a lot. Because
I'm only aware of the Lupin the Third episode where there is a robot in it and it looks exactly like Castle in the Sky robots, and then the woman who's in control of the robot in the Lupin the Third episode looks eerily similar to, I think it's Nausicaa. Like eerily similar.
Yeah. Yeah, and like where the robots are in Castle of the Sky, they have the little fox critters running around from Nausicaa.
Oh yeah, the fox squirrels.
Yeah, the fox squirrels. You've got the soot sprites in Totoro and Spirited Away. You've got the Kodama in Mononoke and Spirited Away. Yeah, he likes to reuse elements.
Miyazaki, I guess, at one point decided that the last Kodama you see at the end of Mononoke is the Totoro. So.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so that's probably why. Yeah, I guess he just decided. He's like, yeah, that one, that's Totoro. That's it. Now everything's connected. Everything's fine.
Yep. Miyazaki Cinematic Universe.
Indeed.
Yeah, you can check out the full trailer for the entire Star Wars Visions series. That was just released a few days ago in Japanese and English. So yeah, you can get a taste of Promare in space. Yeah, so there's another one by Trigger. This one is by Masahiko Otsuka, who's the other co-founder, but usually just a producer. Then we've got one by Kinma Citrus, with music by Kevin Penkin, which is very exciting. You got one by Science Saru. Now, Masaki Yuasa has left Science Saru, so this will be directed by the co-founder and current CEO, Eun-Young Choi, who I don't think has really directed something on her own. She's done a lot of production stuff and a few creative bits here and there. But that's also pretty interesting to look at. Another one by Science Saru by a foreign director. I think maybe his first directorial role. Then we've got one by Production IG, and that is being directed by Kenshi Kamiyama, which means that Kenshi Kamiyama is now like simultaneously directing Star Wars, The Lord of the Rings, Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, and Ultraman, which is ridiculous.
That's a lot.
Not only is it a lot, but like 5 gigantic properties.
Yeah, like, man, I don't even want to, like, the stress. My God.
Yeah.
You fuck that up, and it's like, you'll have everybody mad at you.
Exactly. Like, he's gonna get people mad at him no matter what, because he's got 5 huge beloved properties to try to not fuck up. Yeah. So those are all the Star Wars shorts coming out in 4 weeks. So I'm definitely excited for Kamiyama's, Imaishi's, the Kinma Citrus, Kevin Penkin one, and I guess the Science Saru ones, especially on Young Choi. But definitely interested to check them all out.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it. I didn't see that there was a whole trailer. Last I looked was just like one of those teasers, and then they were interviewing a couple of the creators and how excited they were. And then, yeah, I saw the Studio Trigger one with Leo as a character design. I think I even mentioned it at that point to Emily. I was like, that guy looks really, really fucking familiar, doesn't he? So, yeah, I'll have to watch him. I don't have Disney Plus anymore, but, you know, if it's really good, you know, just pay for a month of it or whatever, or find someone who has it and just take it from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll let you know how it stacks up. All right. Next piece of news. This is something that we've all certainly been awaiting and anticipating because it had kind of been hinted before. But we got the official confirmation that Vinland Saga Season 2 is happening.
Woo!
Yeah.
Nice.
Farmland Saga, here we go.
Yeah. It wasn't announced.
So I was just going to say a couple of my friends are really excited for it, and I tried to tell them, but I didn't want to like totally spoil it. Be like, it's going to be really different.
Mm-hmm. Did they watch the whole first season?
They did, yeah.
Okay.
And they're like, I was so excited to see more of that, and I'm like, yeah. Kinda, maybe, but not really.
Well, the animation definitely set a more even tone from the manga. So I think they could probably take a hint of where the story might be going. Totally. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe not.
I don't know. It's definitely like with the place that the first season ended, which is the place that had to end. You can't really just continue from that point. It's like the end of the first season of Promised Neverland. Like, that is the turning point where everything changes. The second season can't possibly be the same kind of show. So, yeah. But I guess you don't necessarily expect exactly what it's going to be.
It's going to be interesting to see how that's received.
Harvest Moon.
Also,
slavery.
Also, it wasn't like confirmed who's going to be doing it. So, like, normally you'd expect it to be the same studio, but, you know, WIT has been kind of dropping a lot of its ongoing adaptations, like Attack on Titan obviously being the big one. And Ancient Magus Bride is another one where they kind of, like, spun off a different studio to handle the upcoming OVAs or whatever they're doing for that. called Studio Kafka, so I could see that being where this one goes, if not Wit proper. Or it could go to something completely different, like Attack on Titan.
Same director, though.
Yeah, I think that
I
was
believe.
confirmed.
Yeah.
I think he was tweeting.
Yeah, because since he was the one that was tweeting the teases that it was getting. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exciting, at least. Next piece of news, which I'm very excited about, is that G-Kids has licensed Future Boy Conan. So they've mostly done movies, obviously. They did one Ghibli, Polygon Pictures, Goro Miyazaki TV series before, but obviously they had the Ghibli connection there, so that made sense. And then their huge one was Evangelion. But yeah, this is another TV series directed by Hayao Miyazaki way back in the day before he was working on movies. It's supposed to be very good. I've heard a lot about it over a long period of time. It's getting a new 4K restoration. Obviously, they're just going to put it on standard Blu-rays, but that is promising for its video quality. It's getting a new English dub, which is kind of remarkable for something that old. And they claim that it'll be out by the end of the year. So that's all very exciting, potentially.
Wow, they must have been working on it for a while then.
Yeah.
And just we're waiting, because normally, well, I mean, there's a lot of Blu-ray, like 4K releases that are getting announced now, where it's just like coming out in 2 or 3 months. So I guess this isn't all that unbelievable in a way that they would have already did the vast majority of the work, because like Invasion of the Body Snatchers just got announced for 4K like today or yesterday, and it's slated to come out in November. Mm-hmm. So I guess they're pretty far along typically, but yeah, this is exciting. Yeah, G-Kids has been doing, I mean, they've been around for a while, so we can't really be like, oh, doing a lot of good stuff recently, because they do good stuff all the time. I just got my Coraline Blu-ray in the mail like 2 days ago, which is dope. But that's G-Kids, I think. Shout Factory, G-Kids, and Studio Leica, I believe.
Yeah, definitely, moving into the TV series space is something that they've only started doing recently, which is exciting because, yeah, they've been, getting big ones. Evangelion after all this time, Conan after all this time. So, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, how long of a series is this show? I'm trying to...
I think it's like 26.
Google it, right? Yeah, I'm trying to Google it at the moment to figure it out. Oh, there was a film too. Yeah, 26 episodes, and there were 2 films, and then there was a second Future Boy Conan as well. I guess that was 24 episodes. Mm. But that was many moons afterwards. The original run was 1978, and then the Future Boy Conan 2, 2000. Mm-hmm. So, quite a jump there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, one of Miyazaki's first directed things, too. Because was it this one of his first directed, or was it that Treasure Island thing with the animals?
Think this was his first, like, fully directing property, I believe. Can't remember the exact timeline of everything, but yeah, because, he had directed a bunch of, like, Lupin Part 1, but he was like splitting it with Takahata, and the first chunk of it was directed by someone else. So yeah, I think this is the first thing that he like fully directed himself.
The 2 main characters kind of look like the 2 main characters from Castle in the Sky.
Yeah, I mean, all his characters have always looked the same.
Yeah, very, very true. I was just looking at a picture. I was like, those 2 look really familiar as well. What is going on here? It's an entire connected universe for him, not just his films. Anything he's ever worked on, completely connected, all of it.
Yep.
That's all right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, very excited about that. I've been wanting someone to license that for a long time. Next piece of news, Hiromu Arakawa, who is the creator of Fullmetal Alchemist and Silver Spoon, among others, is launching a new manga. I think this was announced on the 20-year anniversary of the Fullmetal Alchemist manga, which happened about a month and a half ago. So yeah, I don't think there's too much known about it at this point, but she's doing a new manga series, and that's always exciting.
Did Silver Spoon finish?
I think it did just recently finish.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think, she had that, and she had her Arslan manga, which I assume is still going.
It's still going. She's not writing. I mean, obviously she's not writing that. She's just drawing it, so.
Yeah. I mean, she still has to, do the layouts and stuff.
Adapt it, but yeah.
It looks like
Arslan's still going. Silver Spoon actually ended 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it looks like we got some concept art, sort of this new one.
Yeah, true.
It looks...
There's some bear people, or maybe some bear people.
Yeah.
And then a shonen protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, vaguely bear-shaped people and a shonen protagonist.
Yeah.
And... Yep.
Very Arakawa designs.
Looks like a manga. Looks like manga drawn by her.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on.
All right. So, as I mentioned, industry panels at conventions are worthless unless they're discotheque. And as luck would have it, for whatever reason, there was no industry presence at Otakon except for discotheque, which was bizarre. But they had a panel. It was lots of fun. As always, they announced a bunch of stuff. I think most notably, they ended it with a big announcement of Gunbuster, which has not been available in its original form in the US for quite a while. And I believe they said they're dubbing it.
Yeah, all we have is the horseshit movie.
Right.
Currently. Also, why are you slandering Animego like that?
Oh, that's right. Animego is there. Yep, they do still exist.
Yeah. Yeah, why would you do them so dirty like that?
Did you go to their panel?
No, but I remember seeing it and also being like, they still do things?
It's basically like Robert Woodhead puts up a Kickstarter once a year. That's Animego.
One guy working out of his garage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gunbuster thing is super exciting just because it is such a good show, and we just haven't had any type of presence to watch it at all, really, because it's not like we just haven't had a physical release. It hasn't been streaming anywhere that I know of. It's just you buy the movie, which already takes a short series, because I think it's only 6 episodes.
Yep.
So it already takes a 6-episode series and then chops another 20 or 30 minutes off of it. And it's just a goddamn mess. So I was very glad to see that they got that announcement, especially because I had been talking to my friends to watch it. It couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 hours before that announcement came out that we were talking about old anime and old sci-fi anime. And then I said that they should find a way to watch Gunbuster because it's just super good. Especially because at first it feels like it's got a weird training montage when they're in their suits, but instead of doing combat, they're just in their mobile suit things, jumping rope and running laps. And it's the weirdest thing ever, but it's so funny. So yeah, I'm very excited to see this come out on disc and to grab a copy of it.
Yeah, and in terms of its significance, speaking of Ano and speaking of directorial debuts, it is his directorial debut, so definitely an important piece of anime history to have. And you can tell when as soon as Discotek announced something, what's going to be one of their prestige titles that they just put everything into, Giant Robo, Memories, Project Echo, now this. So yeah, that one, they're going to do it right. They're going to give it the best presentation it can have, and it's probably going to be loaded with great extras.
Yeah, so go spend money at with Discotek. They certainly deserve it. All of the money.
Yep.
They're like the Criterion Collection of anime at this point.
Yeah, definitely in some
Except
ways.
Criterion does like new stuff sometimes.
I mean, Discotek does too. Usually,
So it actually makes the comparison even more accurate.
yeah. I am currently halfway through my watch of Discotek's release of Konosuba Season 2.
Discotek had that?
So a lot of Discotek's new stuff is through their partnership with Crunchyroll. So a lot of stuff that Crunchyroll has gotten full
Interesting.
rights to, they'll put out through Discotek. But there have been a few things, like one of their announcements at this panel, it's so great going to Discotek panels, because like every single thing they announce, like shit I've never heard of in my life, there will be like 5 people who are like, oh my god, as soon as the trailer starts. It's like their life is made in that moment. But at this panel, that happened for 15 of the 16 things they announced, or however many. But they announced one thing that was like apparently a TV anime from a few years ago called Girly Air Force, and just silence, complete silence, not a single reaction. So yeah, I think
That has to be the worst.
they, occasionally license new stuff on their own, stuff that gets like passed over, short stuff, kind of niche stuff, cute cat stuff. Stuff like Kimono Friends.
You're talking like Neonbo.
Like Nyanbo, yeah, totally. Stuff like that. And I think, stuff like Girly Air Force or Big Order, I feel like they probably got as package deals with stuff that, they were kind of interested in. They got the Kiss Sis OVA, which nobody on their team is proud of.
I love that show.
Yep. So yeah, they've got
doesn't
quite a
surprise
diverse
me.
mix. Yeah.
And what also makes Discotek so great, in a completely like unrelated thing, is their website is so shitty.
Yep.
It's so bad, but yet they put so much work into these like Blu-rays and making good releases with special features and 4K releases now at this point. That they're I think they're working on, because did they do the Lupin the Third 4K, or is that somebody else?
They did the Cobra 4K.
And the Space Adventure Cobra, yeah.
The Lupin 4K, and they announced at this panel that they were doing a Robot Carnival 4K.
Yeah, but then if you go to Discotek's website, the effective portion of their website is just in the center of the browser screen, and everything else is blank space.
Yeah.
It's so terrible.
Yeah, like Justin's discs for Discotek are generally considered like, the standard for, the best kind of anime disc that you can get. Everything that they do, from the restoration of the original materials, some of which are like just to absurd extremes that no one else would ever care to go to. And like, something that they've been talking about in a lot of their panels lately, and kind of culminated in this one. There's this series called Ninja Robots that got a dub back in like the 90s that mainly aired in like, I don't know, Australia and Southeast Asia or something. And the dub was like completely lost. None of the people involved had it or would get back to them. But they wanted to include all of the content that ever existed when they licensed the show. So they've been sourcing it out to just any fans across the world who have taped episodes from back when it aired in the 90s. And they managed to get like all but 10 minutes of the series. And it's like an awful dub. They like started their panel with clips of it just to, play up the comedy of how bad it is. But just for completionism, they just scour the world and, every fan they can find a videotape in their basement of this shitty old dub, just so that they can include every piece of media that ever existed associated with the things they license. So, yeah, that's Discotek.
You should have got up and just lost your shit at that Girly Air Force and have been the only person just whooping it up, clapping uncontrollably.
That's how everyone is for everything else that Discotek announces. Like,
I'm sure, especially for even the most obscure, like,
absolutely.
Shin Getter Robo stuff. Or
like some
what's
shitty
another
old
good one?
tokusatsu from like the 80s, someone will just be losing their mind from like the first frame of the trailer.
Yeah, what's another? There's another. Yeah, like another a good one, like fucking Baldios.
Yep.
I'm sure people lost their
Absolutely.
goddamn minds.
Yeah, like most of the shit that they announced here, like we'll look through it. You know, some of it's like, you know, stuff that you know about. Like, yeah, I got the Ashita no Joe 2 movie. I wish they'd get the series, but that's cool. Everyone loves Ashita no Joe and wants the series on disc eventually. Ronin Warriors, that's a big thing. Cutie Honey live action thing, that wasn't the one that Anno did. Alright. Lupin the Third versus Detective Conan, yeah, that's cool. The Mystery of Mamo is finally getting a Blu-ray release with all of its 4 different dubs. Sayuki Reload, Just Reload. Robot Carnival 4K, that's cool. I guess really the only thing that they announced that I had like never heard of was Machine Robo. Yeah.
I think I've heard of it, but I couldn't tell you much about it, but the name is familiar.
So yeah, I guess a lot more this time was known properties. Usually they'll be announcing a ton of stuff that at least I don't think most people have heard of. But whether it's the Twitch chat or the live crowd at a convention, people will just be losing their minds. I do wonder...
Oh, okay. Now I remember. I had to Google it real quick. It was like a proto-Transformers.
That makes sense.
Is what Machine Robo, it was a Japanese, like, proto-Transformers TV show / toy line.
Yeah, I feel like they may have mentioned something about that.
Now I remember because they talked about that at a Transformers panel I went to at a con a few years ago. Okay,
Gotcha.
That's why the name is familiar.
So yeah, there you go. I guess this time it was relatively known properties. But yeah, a lot of super obscure shit that people lose their minds over. And yeah, some of their releases are Criterion level, definitely, like the ones I talked about. Cast of Cagliostro, Memories, Giant Robo, probably Gunbuster, and the upcoming Princess Eiko, which they talked about, or Project Eiko, which they talked about a lot. So some of them are very bare bones, like Hajime no Ippo is disappointingly bare bones, but I'm glad to have it. So yeah, it's basically whatever they're most excited about, they're just going to put all the effort into. Which is what Justin said on this show when I asked him how they decide that.
Which is how it should be. You wouldn't want to put like a ton of effort into restoring a thing you don't give 2 shits about.
Right. It's not necessarily what the audience gives 2 shits about. It's just that everyone working at Discotek are super big nerds. And so...
Yes, I imagine there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
I would guess that Venn diagram is basically a circle.
Of what the audience cares about and what they care about?
Yeah, I would imagine it's pretty close.
I mean, the Discotek niche that they've carved out, yeah, there's probably decent overlap. But anime fans in general, no. Like, the brand new stuff that they license that, like, you want, you know, you're going to be selling way higher numbers of, those are basically bare bones releases. Like, the stuff that the extras are plentiful from the Japanese release, absolutely no problem with getting them, making new ones, whatever. They just slap out a bare bones one. It's the stuff that they need to, like, dig through and absolutely kill themselves over 80 hours a week. Those are the ones that they put in the work for, the ones that are, like, impossible. Because that's the ones they care about.
Yeah, and that's the ones that, like you said, the niche that they want to sell to.
Right.
Want that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure they do those bare bones ones to keep the lights on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, they want to do their Project Eikos, their TV Warrior Laserions, and all that shit.
I don't know how Criterion they went with that one, but yeah.
No, I think TV Warrior Laserion is an SD on BD.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, next piece of news. So a few months back, it was announced that the JoJo Part 6 anime would be happening. Not a lot of other details about it. It's coming to Netflix exclusively worldwide simultaneously in December, which is a big move because obviously all of the other parts have been standard TV series that aired on Japanese TV, were simulcast, subtitled on Crunchyroll, and then dubbed and released on Blu-ray by Viz years later because Viz is super slow with everything. So this is very different. It's safe to assume that it'll have a dub as soon as it premieres worldwide. Who knows if it'll be released on home video? Viz has released a lot of Netflix stuff on home video. So hopefully this has a better chance than some scenarios would from their kind of, experience on both sides, both with the property and with Netflix. But yeah, it is a big change.
Condolences to Toonami.
Yep.
Yeah, the trailer is super hype, so I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up because, I don't know if... JoJo's has always been cult, but, I wonder... I know that it being on cable definitely boosted, general awareness of it. And it had to have picked up more of an audience because of it.
In Japan or the US?
Here in the US. And then Netflix is like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah, but you can't get a bigger audience than Netflix.
This is also true.
If you're an anime fan and you have Netflix, that shit's gonna pop up as soon as it is released in the top of your queue. Yeah, there are definitely pros and cons to any platform it may end up on. Obviously, with Netflix, there's so much content that it does run the risk of getting buried. So if you're not already an anime fan, you might not be aware of it. Whereas if you're just, flipping through your cable channels, if that's still a thing people do, you might run into it more likely.
There's always somebody with insomnia up at 2:00 in the morning.
I guess it's just
channel surfing.
Yeah, it's just weird for me to think that people still have cable, but a lot of people do.
I know. I haven't had cable since college, so
yeah.
I'm one to talk, but anyway, speaking of making big moves here.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt that segue, but something I forgot to mention with the Vinland Saga thing that I now need to mention. So, yeah, Vinland Saga got licensed by Sentai, and they're releasing the Blu-ray pretty soon now, I think, next week or something. Premium edition's coming down the road, doesn't have a release date yet. It's got a dub from their Houston pool. Dubcast was announced almost the exact same time as that. It came out that Vinland Saga was on Netflix in other countries that speak English, and it has a completely different dub, as a lot of stuff that was first on Netflix in America and then licensed by Sentai for home video ran into, where it would have their LA dub on Netflix and then a Houston dub on Blu-ray, because I guess Sentai couldn't afford to license the dub that was produced.
So fucking weird.
So this is happening kind of in reverse, kind of simultaneously, where it's got a completely different LA dub in international English-speaking Netflix regions. And kind of indications are that this new season may be exclusively on Netflix worldwide for streaming rights. So, you're not going to be seeing it on Amazon Prime or High Dive or Crunchyroll. Probably going to be 3 months, 6 months later on Netflix with not the dubcast that the Blu-ray has.
Of course.
Still some speculation there, but yeah, very real chance that that's what happens to Vinland Saga Season 2 for us.
And inevitably. What a fucking mess. This industry's a fucking mess over here right now. All right. Anyway, segueing back into speaking mess of industry.
Actually, I'm going to interrupt you again because there's something else I need to say about... So we keep running these situations where, like, Netflix will get something that it's like the sequel to a anime that just came out that had a completely different dub cast. They will have absolutely zero reprisals. And then they go and get this Shaman King reboot from 20 years later after the original series, complete reboot, and they have an LA studio, or if they don't, the LA studio goes to the effort of digging up all the old New York voice actors who were in the original super edited 4Kids hack dub of the original 20-year-old TV series that they're rebooting.
Okay, I know what's happening over at Netflix. They're throwing it to, like, okay, outsource this to whatever dub house.
Yeah.
And it goes there, and it's really up to the director and the casting director as to who they actually bother to get. And some of them are like, I'm going to use my own people, and then you get the crazy people who are like, no, I'm going to go fucking find these people.
It's just so bizarre.
No rhyme or reason. Yeah. No rhyme or reason. No directive from Netflix. They're probably just like, go get a fucking dub for this.
Yeah, for sure. But, like, yeah, the situations where, you know, it's some Funimation dub, and then it gets a sequel exclusive to Netflix, it gets dubbed in LA. Like, half the voice actors are already working in LA dubs actively, and none of them keep their roles. In COVID, everyone's recording remotely anyway. None of them keep their roles.
Everybody's recording in their... Yeah, everybody's in their fucking closets at home, because everybody had to make home studios anyway, so...
Yeah. So bizarre. So yeah, I just wanted to bring up, like, we have these, you know, Kaoru has 6 English voice actors, Vinland Saga has 2 simultaneous dubs with 0 overlap, and meanwhile they go back and get the 20-year-old 4Kids cast of Shaman King for a reboot.
Oh. For a thing that nobody really gives a fuck about.
Like, nobody cares about consistency with the 4Kids cast. It's a reboot, and that was a hack dub. Jesus.
Oh my god. Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
No.
We
No,
good?
we're good.
Okay. The FT was the FT. Whoever the fuck keeps an eye on from the government on is this thing a monopoly or not? Finally gave the okay, and Sony / Funimation has acquired Crunchyroll. For reals this time.
Yep. Nothing's changed yet, but it is official.
Nope. And the future refused to change. For the time being. And the only news out of that we had was, yeah, we're gonna try within this year to get, or within this physical year, within a year, to get everything under one piece of software. Mm-hmm. And
Please.
that's and they didn't say whose piece of software or what that's gonna look like or anything.
Just abandon the Funimation app entirely.
Yes.
Please,
everything
for the
over.
love of God.
Yeah, put that shit out of its misery.
Yep.
I'm so sick of using it.
It's a fucking piece of trash, and hopefully they do the right thing, and hopefully the reason they haven't been trying to improve upon it is they know that it's destined for the dumpster. But please do the right thing. Please do the right thing.
Also worth
Even
noting...
if they... You can go.
I was just going to say, this also includes Verve, so that is, you know, yet another player that will potentially get, you know, consolidated, maybe not, because it's got a bunch of other channels. I assume as part of this acquisition, they will be swapping out High Dive for Funimation, because Verve launched with Funimation included, and then when their partnership ended, they swapped that out for High Dive, so I would imagine that they're going to go back to Funimation now that, you know, they're all the same company.
Yeah, shit's crazy.
I hope that when the
I don't know.
apps do merge, which they inevitably will, that they they don't just keep the Crunchyroll layout. They don't prioritize that, but they prioritize the I don't. Have you guys tried the beta that Crunchyroll has going right now for their site? It's like
No, I heard it wasn't great.
it's so much better. It is
okay,
infinitely better than normal Crunchyroll. It is hands down my favorite interface for any anime streaming service that I've subscribed to. And I hope that they do more with that, because you still have to go out of your way to like activate it. Like it's not even a thing that.
Well, if that's in beta and the fucking Funi one is like fucking busted up beyond belief, I can only hope that everything will gel into something. Maybe rebranded something, but it's something over there.
Like a few things about that. So I think it's now just anyone who has an account it's live for. I know at first you had to like specifically choose to switch to it. I think right now, as long as you're signed into your Crunchyroll account, you get the new site. It's only if you're not signed in that you get the old one.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I had to like personally activate it.
I did at first as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the iPad app, so I don't fucking know. I don't know what the rest of the universe looks like from inside that.
And I don't know, because I don't watch in a browser anymore either. And I don't know how all of the other apps look, but I do know that the app that I use, which is the Fire Stick, and I think it's the same app that they have on a lot of their devices at this point, they redid that like a year ago, and it was pretty much putting it in line with the Verve app, and this new Crunchyroll site is pretty much just making the whole website like the app, which is in turn like the Verve app. So I think they're kind of trying to get everything in this consistent direction. And Funimation, I feel like, hasn't touched their stuff in a long time. So it seems pretty likely that they would go that direction. And when they did have a partnership previously, you know, they at least let Crunchyroll have all of the simulcasts, all the subtitled material. So hopefully they know that that's the right way to go.
Hopefully. I can't imagine. Like, so far, it seems like, at least looking from the outside, that Sony's acquisition of Funimation has gone very well. And Sony's not like one of those other companies that comes in and just fucking wreck shit half the time. They give people a lot of leeway, usually, so...
It was interesting when they first acquired Funimation, you know, people were like, they going to do something with the fact that they own Funimation Aniplex? And for a while, there was none of that. And people were like, yeah, you know, Sony's so huge, so many different branches that, you know, one head isn't talking to another. But they absolutely did kind of, you know, I think Funimation at this point is technically co-owned by Aniplex. And they started doing a ton of stuff together where, you know, Funimation will stream all of the Aniplex shows and movies even. They release standard editions of some of the Aniplex home video titles. They even dub some of the Aniplex shows, so the ones that Aniplex will be releasing on home video will have the whole Funimation dub and everything. So yeah, they really made strides with that, and then they, you know, made moves to acquire Crunchyroll, which they have now done, and they've had talks in the past few years about how they want anime to be like, you know, the fourth pillar of their business or whatever. They're really serious about it. No other huge company really was. Netflix has started to, you know, make steps into really caring about anime, between acquisitions and original productions.
While Amazon has totally dropped the ball like Amazon do.
But now they've got exclusive rights to all the Rebuild movies.
Which is weird.
And they redubbed them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Amazon, like, they haven't simulcast a show in like a year or two. And yeah, you know, AT&T was happy to get rid of Crunchyroll. A lot of these big companies have not shown that much interest in anime compared to Sony. Although I guess Disney now cares about anime enough to make a Star Wars anime.
Yeah, but that's just like any of the other things. Of like, oh, let's do this anime tie-in with these studios that are like kind of cool.
Yeah, there's been a few of those. The
Animatrix was cool. I don't know.
But yeah, Sony definitely cares about anime and it shows. And yeah, they haven't been really destructive yet, but it is getting to the point where, they have a little bit of a monopoly in some areas. And
and the positions are definitely going to get eliminated. Like, anybody on Funimation's, engineering team is probably going to go poof.
Yeah, probably a ton of people working for both companies are going to get fired if they haven't already,
Not like that team deserved their jobs anyway.
Whoa! Shots fired.
I'm not going to say that.
I will.
If
you can't get a web player to work, then I don't think you should have a job. So, yep.
I think there's a lot of poor management. As someone who's been a professional software engineer for 6+ years, it's usually not the fault of incompetent developers. It's usually impossible deadlines and demands and priority shifted. So
yeah, but that's more nuanced, and I don't want that. So
he just wants the hot take.
Yeah. As a casual anime consumer, would this not be seen as kind of like a positive? Because I'm assuming it would then combine the two services catalogs. So then when you have a season, when you want to watch a new show, you don't have to pick or pay for Crunchyroll and Funimation. Because I've had to do that a couple times.
Oh yeah.
And it sucks.
We remember,
and
we remember the halcyon days with the Funimation Crunchyroll partnership, and we were very sad when it came to an end.
Exactly. Yeah, that was great.
So it's really funny to see people bitching about it now, because I'm like, you guys were cool with the partnership.
I mean,
but now you're not cool with this. It's like, I get it. It's like, that's why there was the whole investigation prior to purchase to make sure that there wasn't going to be a monopoly, but of course, there can't be a monopoly because Netflix and Amazon exist.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon isn't much of a threat at this point. Netflix is definitely the big threat, but little guys like Sentai just trying to make their way, they're kind of fucked. I think the monopoly concern, it's not the same as the partnership because they were equal partners there. Now Funimation owns Crunchyroll, their biggest competition, which is a major move. Their other biggest competition was Aniplex until they got put under the same house. So I think definitely the consolidation, assuming it goes correctly, which it did for the partnership, is great. I've had to pay for a Crunchyroll and Funimation account at the same time for 7-8 years. And it sucks. So I'm glad that High Dive never has anything worthwhile because I never have to pay for that.
There's also Hulu too.
Yeah.
Hulu is, I think, one of the big things that they cited when they did this investigation and came out the other end. They're like, no, because Netflix and Hulu have X percentage. They broke down the percentages of users and streaming based or something, and they're like XYZ, and then it came down to Funimation and Crunchyroll is 2 or 3% or something of overall streaming or something. Some ridiculously small number, and you think about it, you're like, oh, yeah, anime still is kind of niche.
Yeah. That's why,
I wanted to check the Hulu site before I said it, because I knew they had anime, but I didn't know if they did simulcasts, and they do.
Yes.
I think it's actually something that not a lot of people really know, because nobody talks about it.
Well,
it used to be a big deal, and we still keep it on our charts that, this thing is streaming here, the XYZ. But, yeah, there was a time when Hulu was free and shit, and it was actually, I used to watch stuff on it. That time has long passed.
The reason nobody talks about simulcasts on Hulu is because Hulu doesn't license exclusive simulcasts like everyone else. Everyone else puts their shit on Hulu. So everything Funimation simulcast in a season, they'll also put it on Hulu, a few hours to a day after it goes up on their player. Sentai will put their stuff on Hulu. Viz will put their stuff on Hulu if they have anything. Hulu is another player, but they don't have anything exclusive, or they haven't for a very long time. So they're a little less significant. But yeah, that's all good in terms of consolidation. I think the fact that Funimation and Crunchyroll have been contributing so much money to the Japanese productions so that, they can be on the production committee and make sure that they have full rights to the show before it ever exists. That's a lot of money that was going to creating high budget shows that only existed because they had to outbid each other. And it was those two that were doing it. So I think that's going to be significant in terms of that money not flowing.
Well, it's now that money is going to be between them and Netflix.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of that. But like, yeah, there was a lot of that going on. Like Crunchyroll had completely funded entire shows. Like no American company's ever done that before. So there was some very significant work being done. They'll do it some more to try to get stuff in front of Netflix. But I think having kind of all of the anime specific companies that were real threats to each other under the same rulers is potentially risky in the long term. But we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, the future is uncertain.
Yep.
In these uncertain times. But for now, I just hope we get back to the level of sharing and caring that was going on during the partnership.
Exactly. Yeah, because that was great.
Can we lightning round some of this other information that's on here?
I mean,
we've been doing the news for an hour,
I feel
10
like
minutes.
at this point it should just be a news podcast, and then maybe
I
next
know
week
we might have to
can
split
do
this up.
I mean,
like a current season thing. We just have a lot of fucking news.
When we don't record a regular episode for 2 months, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, maybe we might have to push off spring season to next week.
Well,
Yeah, let's just do it next week.
Episode next week.
We're 2/3 through the summer season, Kate. So
That's what I meant. Summer season next week.
No, let's talk about spring season. Actually, let's do a complete retread and go back in time.
I will say that not only was spring season much better than this season, but all of the shows that I'm still enjoying are carrying over from the spring season. So
yeah, I kind of feel that. So that's why my brain's at.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Let's keep going with the news. Let's get to a pace.
Yeah. I'll say I have like 5 minutes worth of content to say about this current season. So anyway.
Yeah. I don't.
These last two pieces of news were both bad news for Toonami because one of them is that they don't get JoJo anymore, and the other one is that Adult Swim and Crunchyroll are no longer both controlled by Warner Media, which means they won't be doing any more partnerships like one of the series airing this season. But at the same time, 1 day later, in fact, they announced that they are trying to get into the original anime game pretty big. So Jason DeMarco, who is co-founder of Toonami, he's been running it since the reboot on Adult Swim. He's been senior vice president of Adult Swim for a long time, even before that. He has now been named, or I forget what his role in that was, some executive role. He's been named senior vice president of anime and action series for Warner Brothers Animation and Cartoon Network Studios. So they're establishing a whole effort to, produce original anime series. They've been doing this to some extent all under Jason DeMarco, going back to like IGPX back in the day, and they've been doing it a lot more recently with, like the new Fooly Cooly sequels, the series that's airing this season, the upcoming Uzumaki anime. They got a bunch of other ones coming up as well. So now they're making it like a whole business unit that DeMarco is leading. So definitely something, in the same kind of trend that we were talking about before. They're stepping up to try to really make a move in original anime.
Competition.
I suppose so.
Against Netflix. Stealing their shit.
Yep. So yeah, that's cool.
Congrats to Jason for his promotion.
Yeah, he's still like keeping all of his other roles, so he's just got a bunch of big leadership roles that are all kind of connected now.
I'm sure
no
that's
pressure,
a 40-hour
no
week.
pressure.
Right. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yep.
He's a good
Also,
dude.
he's producing that Lord of the Rings anime movie that has no association with like Adult Swim or anything, which is interesting.
I forgot about that. Yep. I forgot about that.
Also directed by Kenji Kamiyama.
What crazy world.
Along with every other like huge property that's getting an anime. Yeah. Good times.
Tolkien's son dies and everything just floodgates open.
Yeah, so next piece of news. So obviously, big talking point of a few episodes ago was the passing of Kentaro Miura, creator of Berserk, and it was, unknown what would happen to Berserk if he had finished the chapter he was working on, if he had, left notes about what was to come, if his editors would pick it up, what the publishers would decide to do. So the one thing that they have announced is that the next volume of the magazine it runs in will have the next chapter. They didn't say that it was 100% finished by Miura. Might have been, completed by his assistants or something, but it's going to get at least one more chapter in the magazine. It's going to be a big tribute magazine to him and to Berserk, and maybe it will have some news on the future or lack thereof of the series. So yeah, that's happening. There's at least one more chapter coming.
I hope it doesn't end in some. Well, if the assistants had to finish it off, then hopefully they didn't leave it on a big ass fucking cliffhanger. If they're not gonna, I mean, more so than it already is, considering it was a continuing story.
Yeah,
but I hope
you can only do so
I hope
much.
it's not like. I hope it's not like, oh, and then there was this giant plot point gonna drop, and be like, oh, please don't.
Honestly, I'd prefer the natural end that he, came to before he was unable to write anymore, versus and then we quickly wrap everything up in 4 panels.
Yeah, I don't want that either. I just want I just hope it. I hope they aren't publishing it if it's going to be a big fucking tease for something that's never gonna come.
I feel like it's inevitably going to be that. There's no good scenario out of this.
It was all a dream.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole thing was a dream.
A fucking fever dream.
So the last universe is fucked up. All right.
Yeah.
From most of what I had read when this happened, I think as far as Reddit was concerned, a lot of people were just hoping that maybe they would novelize the ending and not turn it into a manga.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to make a book to read it, so you don't have to worry about living up to that art, but you can still finish the story as far as Miura was concerned. If he had most of it kind of written already, and then you can finish it that way as just a novel rather than trying to live up to that standard. And I think a lot of people were generally okay with that idea, which is completely understandable.
I'd be more okay with that. Yeah.
If they wanted, I'd be cool with that too. If they just, if they get a good writer, if he left concise notes, that would really be the best way of doing it. And then you could get illustrators to do cool fucking illustrations for a light novel or a novel finishing off the plot line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems like probably the best compromise at this point. Yeah, it's
pull a Brandon Sanderson with the Wheel of Time. We just was bringing somebody who could just write it out.
Yeah, nobody's mind works like his mind works. So he would have to definitely have very detailed notes about where the story is going, and it still wouldn't quite be Berserk, because so much of Berserk is just wordless imagery, and so it's probably the best compromise to just be in a novelized version of Berserk, you would skip entire volumes because they have no words. They're just pure fever dream imagery, just pure psychedelics. So if they were to complete the story in a way that he had planned out in a novel form that's decently written and by someone who knows the character's voices well enough, that's probably the best you can hope for at this point.
All right.
Next piece of news. So back in spring 2010, there was a TV anime called The Tatami Galaxy. One of my favorite works by Masaki Yuasa. And then a few years ago, it got kind of a spiritual successor in another adaptation by the same team from a novel by the same author in very much the same style, called Night is Short, Walk On Girl. And now there is going to be an adaptation of the direct sequel to the Tatami Galaxy, which is called Tatami Time Machine Blues. So that's going to get a TV anime on the Noitamina block, just like the original series was. And ironically, so the original series and Night is Short, Walk On Girl were both directed by Yuasa and produced by Madhouse. This is being directed by Shingo Natsume, who's mainly known for directing things at Madhouse, and being produced by Science Saru, which is mainly known for producing things directed by Yuasa. So, yeah, kind of swapped roles there in a weird way. Natsume notably directed the good season of One Punch Man and is currently writing and directing the original series Sunny Boy this season. The series is going to have the same scriptwriter as Tatami Galaxy, same character designer, and yeah, like I said, it's going to be another actual series, not a movie, and air in the same block. So I liked Night is Short, Walk On Girl, but I did not think it quite lived up to Tatami Galaxy, so I hope this is a little bit closer. It's going to be weird not having it be by Yuasa, but hopefully Natsume kind of captures that with the team at Science Saru and all the other returning staff.
Yeah, I have to get around to watching that. I think I started watching Tatami Galaxy a little while ago, and then it dropped off for some reason. Mainly because I liked Night is Short, Walk On Girl so much. I knew that at the very least there were characters shared between the two.
Yeah.
I wasn't too familiar with if they had any like true relation to each other than these characters. But that was enough for me to at least start checking it out, and just the art style is, for me alone, is enough to watch it.
Yeah, very, very similar style in every way. And yeah, they have kind of shared characters, but not necessarily anything plot-wise between the two.
That finally got licensed, right? Tatami Galaxy finally got released, right?
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
That was one of those series that was like, oh my god, no one's ever gonna pick this up.
Yeah, that was one that Funimation had simulcast way back in spring 2010, and then I think maybe Australia got a physical release of it, and then Funimation finally licensed it for Blu-ray in like 2019, maybe.
Yeah, like there was like, it was ridiculously later. It was.
Yeah. Yep.
I just remember how many years that spent on people's licensing wish lists, and it was just lingering.
And I think that was probably thanks to Night is Short, Walk On Girl, because like G-Kids licensed that right away, put it out in theaters and everything, put it out on Blu-ray, obviously, and I think that got a lot of people interested in it. And I think in general around that time, a lot more people were interested in going back and checking out Yuasa works, because like Devilman Crybaby was huge, and then Yuasa was just pumping out like an absurd amount of stuff. He released like several movies and TV series per year for a few years there.
Yeah, because he had Penguin Highway, Lou Over the Wall, Ride Your Wave, Night is Short, Walk On Girl.
I think Penguin Highway was the same author as these three that we're talking about, also the same author as Eccentric Family, but I don't think Yuasa did that one. So he did, just looking here, so in 2017, Night is Short, Walk On Girl, and Lou Over the Wall, 2 feature films. 2018, Devilman Crybaby, a full TV series. 2019, Ride Your Wave, feature film, and Super Shiro, a TV series. 2020...
Aizoken's the big thing we're forgetting.
Yeah, well, 2020, Aizoken, which was, after everyone had already gotten really into Yuasa, Funimation had released Tatami Galaxy, G-Kids had gone back and dubbed Night is Short, Walk On Girl. All that stuff happened. People were already way on the Yuasa high, and then Aizoken came out. Also 2020 was Japan Sinks 2020, and its theatrical edition. And then he's got another thing, I think a movie coming out in sometime this year. So yeah, he is extremely busy lately.
Yeah, you can get to Tatami Galaxy on Blu-ray not once but twice, because it has the first release, and then they gave it a classics
release. Oh, that's
release.
right. They did just
ugly purple banner.
Yep, they did just solicit that one. Yeah.
But somehow, if you go on Amazon, the original release, which is the same thing, is cheaper than the Classics release, which was the re-release. And normally, it's normally the other way around.
Yeah, usually it's like, they stop printing the original one for a while and then do the re-release without like the slipcover and with the stupid banner.
I'm looking at the trailer for this Inuo that's coming out, and it's got somebody playing a shamisen behind their head, all Rockstar style. So, nice. Yeah, I'm down for whatever the hell this is.
Yep.
That was amazing.
Yeah, he's a creative guy.
This trailer's nuts looking.
All right, so next piece of news. So there are a lot of just fucking weird things coming out. So speaking of, discotheque earlier, they've finally caught up on all the Lupin the Third TV series. They had released most of them already. Just recently, they released, their re-release of Woman Called Fujiko Mine after the Funimation one had been out of print for a while. They cleaned up a few things with that. They finally released Part 3 on Blu-ray very recently, and they've got all of Part 5 finally coming out on one Blu-ray collection in October. So finally all perfectly caught up just in time for Part 6 to premiere in that same month. And so, of course, Lupin III Part 6 has been acquired for streaming and home video release by Sentai? What?
This is right. Everything. Yeah. Okay. I need a title for this episode right now, and it's gonna be "Get Your Shit Together."
Don't try that. We should come up with a title there. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And round we go.
I don't get it. It was a little weird for G Kids to get Lupin the Third the First, but that was very different, very outside the scope of the normal Lupin stuff. This is just the next TV series that Discotheque has just finished releasing the prior, now 6 of, because it's parts 1 through 5 plus Fujiko Mine. So weird.
Why?
Yeah. Sentai, ADV, all those companies have never had anything to do with Lupin.
The only company that has not touched the goddamn fucking thing.
Yup. Super weird.
Everybody wants the Lupin.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get their hands on this thief.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, now Sherlock Holmes does, so we're completing the circle. Did you not see that?
What's that?
The 50th anniversary of Lupin, there's going to be, I guess, one, an isekai, and Sherlock Holmes is involved.
Oh, okay.
So they're doing a Lupin isekai manga, I think it's a manga, and Sherlock Holmes will be in it. So now Sherlock Holmes is also involved in Lupin the Third Galaxy.
Nice.
Sure.
Which, Detective Conan already is, so I guess that means that, yeah.
Oh, and there's also going to be a Lupin the Third tabletop RPG that you can buy.
What? Okay.
So,
yeah, they're going all out
sure,
with the
not?
Weird shit for this 50th anniversary, baby.
Sure, why not? That could be cool. A heist-style tabletop RPG where your team runs heists and Sure, I could see that. Why not?
So, are you guys familiar with the Tommy Westphall universe hypothesis?
Yes.
So,
it's my favorite goddamn thing ever. Oh my god.
So, under that logic, if Lupin is now in the same universe as Detective Conan and Sherlock Holmes, and through Moriarty the Patriot, Sherlock Holmes is in the same universe as James Bond, and what else? Kane. What else did they throw in there?
Well, they threw in MI6, obviously. They threw in the invention of the bourbon old-fashioned.
Right. There's a lot of real-life stuff in there, yeah. The French Revolution.
Automobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, the invention of the automobile was in that universe as well.
Essentially the Batman universe. Yeah. So all of these things are now connected and canon to Lupin. And because Lupin, as directed by Miyazaki, is canon to all other Miyazaki works, yeah, it's all the same universe. Yeah, thank you, Kate, for the Tommy Westphall universe. diagram.
Visualization of the Westfall universe.
I'm 100% confident that there's some Sherlock shit in there, which means that, this now expands to everything that we're talking about as well.
I need to see, if anything was added recently to this.
Oh, I'm sure.
If it's still expanding.
Oh, it's always, because anytime that anything references anything on this diagram, it's immediately part of the canon. Good shit.
It's the best.
Anyway.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes with Dr. Watson? That's not a manga or one shot. That's part 6.
Oh,
that's
is
just
it?
going to be in the TV show.
Oh, nice. I feel like maybe we did touch upon that when it was first announced. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's not even like a side story or anything. It's just going to be part 6, and it's going to be Sherlock Holmes going after Lupin the Third, and I guess Dr. Watson is murdered.
Interesting.
And Lupin may be a suspect. I'm reading it in depth at the moment, but yeah. So I guess it's going to be Lupin getting chased by Sherlock as the suspect of the death of Dr. John Watson.
I guess that makes sense because, part 6 is England. Just like part 5 was France and part 4 was Italy. Nice. That should be interesting. And maybe exclusive to High Dive. I don't know. We'll see. I know TMS, puts stuff directly on Crunchyroll, but TMS has been working hand in hand with Discotech for so long in so much great detail. Why would they now license this to Sentai? I don't get it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll end up on Crunchyroll, maybe it won't. It's weird.
You said that they had cleaned up the Fujiko Mine release. Was there something wrong with the Funimation one? Because that's the one that I own.
It was just
the nice limited edition box set thing that I guess people are willing to spend weird amounts of money on now. Was there? I don't remember there being something glaringly wrong with it when I watched through.
No, I don't think there was anything glaringly wrong. I think just the subtitles weren't great. They were able to do a little bit more cleanup of the audio and video. I think they got a few more extras than the Funimation release had. Pretty minor stuff, but basically it was just, it had been out of print for a few years, and, having everything under the Discotech house is always cool for Lupin, but now that's not the case.
Update on the Tommy Westfall universe. It somehow managed to suck in all of the WB, all of the anything attached to Arrow.
Of course. Yep.
Because of Blue Sky Meth, which traced back to Breaking Bad, which had Lariat Car Rental, which, yeah. So yes,
I know
people
Breaking
are still
Bad,
tracking this shit.
I know Vince Gilligan put some stuff from X-Files into Breaking Bad, so I'm sure that connection helped as well.
Oh god, yeah, the X-Files would be the direct connection,
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so if the Arrowverse is in there, and they had a bunch of multiverse crossover events with other DC universes, which means that, yeah, you can draw the line to that Two-Face stuff in Moriarty the Patriot, which means it's now connected to James Bond and Sherlock Holmes and Lupin and Detective Conan and all of Miyazaki's works, etc. Yep.
Amazing.
Confirmed.
Yep. I think this list only does live action stuff, so I don't know I don't think this is one of the lists that includes Sesame Street, possibly. Although some have, because what's his face showed up in character from Law and Order on Sesame Street one time.
Yeah, of course.
So
the writers and everything.
Direct. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, we'll stop staring at this chart.
Alright, next piece of news. Attack on Titan, the final season, part 2, is officially premiering in January 2022. Yay.
Yay.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Is that it then?
That's it. That is the final
Yep.
Attack on Titan, yep. The final season, for real this time. Yeah, and then final piece of news, just announced a few days ago, Cowboy Bebop live action is happening for real. They've got photos of the actors in character. They're all cosplayed up. They got some bebop-ish sets going on. It is officially premiering on Netflix on November 19th. It might be okay. Who knows?
Is there
We
no
shall
Edward?
see.
Is that just something they're not doing?
So I remember when the first casting audition sides went out, they did have a spot for Edward, but for all the announcements and material since then, there's been no mention. So maybe they just realized that wasn't going to work in live action and gave up on it.
Or they're counting on a second season.
Or sure, yeah. I mean, Ed only shows up, a third of the way through the series, so could be that. Could be waiting on it. Could be a surprise. I mean, there's still no trailer. There's no footage. There's just a few stills that they've released. So yeah, still more marketing to fall out of it in the next few months.
Yeah. I thought they, in general, looked nice.
Yeah.
They looked as good as you could expect, in a way, because they are anime outfits at the end of the day, and you can only do so much to make them look realistic on actual living human beings.
Yeah, it's good cosplay. It's a lot more grounded of an aesthetic than the Disney remakes, so it works a little bit more naturally. Yeah, it doesn't look bad.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for it, just from always the possibility of someone making a proper live action adaptation always catches my interest, just to see how it works and how it changes, just because I honestly, we collectively have been reading manga and watching anime for so long that sometimes I'm like, how is this so hard to make a proper live action adaptation of an anime? How does it keep getting fucked up so badly? Outside of a few exceptions here and there, Alita's pretty good, I think. And I guess you could say, was it not Live, Die, Repeat? I can't remember what that movie's actually called.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow. All You Need Is Kill is the original.
Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow.
I just want to keep calling it All You Need Is Kill, because that was the name of the book. But
Right.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. I don't know if you'd call that a direct adaptation. I don't know what that exactly...
the ending is completely different.
Well,
Yeah, that's
also
what I
it
mean.
was just a standard novel originally. There was nothing otaku-y about it.
Well, I mean, short. It was it was what we over here would call novella. Not a very long.
Right, but it wasn't in this sphere of the light novel manga. Yeah. Ecosystem.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm assuming it's getting 2 seasons, just because it seems like Netflix gives everything 2 seasons before it decides if it's going to kill it or not.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff gets confirmed for the second one before the first one even comes out. I don't think that's happened for this yet, but I think there's a very good chance. I definitely think a lot of people are going to be watching it.
Yeah, I think they'll get big hype watch numbers at the very least, so even if it's bad, they'll be like, well, look how many people watched it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone despised Netflix's live-action Death Note, and they're making another one of that. I think a lot of people hate-watched it. Which is all you need, just numbers.
Yeah, numbers is numbers. Money is money, baby.
Yep.
Yeah. This, hopefully... I don't know. I like how they translated Faye's outfit into something a real human being would wear.
Yeah.
How dare you say that?
Yeah, it would have been a very different show if she kept consistent with
I
her.
forgot how bad Faye's original outfit was until I went and looked at pictures of the character online. I'm like, oh god. Yeah. And then I looked at cosplayers. I'm like, oh god. I'm like, this outfit doesn't look good on anybody. It doesn't even look good on the character. It's all clashing and bullshit. It's terrible.
It does have the silly just kind of hanging off her arms thing for the outer bit.
Yeah, and then the fucking pink stockings. I was like, what? That doesn't go with anything else in this outfit. Oh, it's so bizarre.
But yeah, her
anyway.
The only thing that's kind of weird that they didn't carry over from her outfit, other than making it a little more modest and realistic, is that they took away her headband.
I'm still holding on that they're going to use that as a backstory filler. That's going to be they're going to change it so she gets the headband by someone she cared about that died in like a bounty gone wrong or something, like an old partner, and he wore that around his wrist or something bullshitty like that.
I'm definitely curious to see what they're going to do like with the actual content. Like, I think indications right now are pretty much that they're going to follow the main story beats of like the core Spike story and have a bunch of original episodic stories around it, which to me sounds like totally the way to go. Like,
yes, because
that's
you don't need
Bebop.
to retell those. Yeah, you don't need to retell those. Aside from like, here we're introducing this character, here we're introducing. But like, yeah, everything around that. Yeah, they could just do whatever.
Like, it's already episodic. It's the perfect opportunity to tell new stories, make it feel like Bebop. Because if you just do a one-for-one adaptation, just like the Disney remakes, one, there's no value in it, and two, it's just going to invite more comparisons, and you're going to realize that the original probably did it a fuckload better because it had, amazing animation and all that. So yeah, definitely keep it consistent, make it feel like Bebop, make it feel like these characters. You got that Yoko Kanno music.
Yes, that'll be man,
for sure.
New soundtrack, maybe with like some of the classics mixed in there, but new stuff. Oh man, new stuff.
I know.
I want new stuff. Oh, it's so exciting.
Right, yeah, it has great potential.
I gotta dig out my soundtrack somewhere. My bootleg soundtrack from 20 plus years ago.
So whenever you find someone's Netflix account to watch this on, you can go back and watch Evangelion.
I know enough people that I can borrow it when the time comes.
Yeah, so there you go. You got your Evangelion problem solved.
I have to. Yeah, well, I just have to. No. Anyway.
By the way, speaking of Yoko Kanno, just to put this into perspective, the last time she composed an anime soundtrack was 7 years ago. The last time she composed an anime soundtrack, not directed by Watanabe, was 9 years ago. Last time she directed one, composed one not directed by him, and not part of a franchise that she had already composed music for, was 14 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was the last one Terror in Resonance?
That was the last anime period, yep.
Right, and then what? The one before that was probably Kids on the Slope? Because I don't think that was Watanabe, but she did the music,
it was.
Right?
Was it? Yep. The last three she composed music for were all Watanabe. Terror in Resonance, Kids on the Slope, and 5 songs from Space Dandy. So the last one she did, not Watanabe, was Aquarion Evol in 2012, because she had already done the original Aquarion. Yeah. So the last...
Kind of had her hands tied.
Right. The last new anime that anyone but Watanabe got her to score was Darker Than Black, the original series from 2007.
Wow.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah, just that one season, that one core show.
It was...
That series really was great. They should have made a second season.
They really should have. They had so much potential.
The original season was 2 cores. I won't say that the ending quite stuck the landing, but there was some good stuff in that second core.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You really think the entire second half of the original season was as bad as the sequels?
No, he's confused.
I'm confusing the core and season terminology.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The original season was 2 cores. It was fine.
This is why I still extend my whole cores are stupid. It should just be seasons, because when it airs, it's aired in the summer season. So why not just call it the first season rather than the first core of one season? And then also, we're not getting Blu-rays of shows that it's just season 1, part 1. Just give me all of one season. God damn it. Stop making me think about this.
But then it could be British and it would be series.
I mean,
which is also fucked up.
That is fucked up too.
The US does this too, where they'll have, season 5 of Breaking Bad airs half one year and half another year. That's not the same season, but it's the same season.
Yeah, but it's the same season. Because it's the season. It's the front half and the back half.
Right, but it doesn't mean anything if they air in completely different TV series, completely different TV seasons in the same line of logic.
But, we already have terminology. First half, back half. We could just use that. Apply it.
But that doesn't apply when One Piece has dozens of cores.
One Piece is.
There are a lot of shows that are more than 2 cores.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it's...
Where did the seasons end when your show never stops?
it is a good piece of terminology to have. It's just silly that units are called seasons when they don't necessarily correspond to literal seasons / TV seasons.
Well, nobody ever said what a season was. Dun dun dun. I mean, you know, TV is not on the same planet. It's its own thing. I don't know. Fucking, I don't know.
That's it for the news.
That's it for the podcast.
We can talk about the current season a little bit.
We should just spare us and talk about
Honestly, I think we should just do it next week. We're already at an hour 45.
Yeah.
You're going to screw up my whole episode 100 schedule.
Oh no! What were you planning for episode 100?
I'm trying to get out this season in the 90s, and then have like the in between season, have episode 100 where we do our big spectacular.
Do you really think that we're gonna get another episode out before?
I mean.
At the rate we're going.
The idea is that we do an episode now, halfway through the season, and then one at the end of the season.
What episode are we on? Is this 98?
We are 98.
We're on 97.
This is 98.
We're 98. Okay, what? Yeah, so 98. We'll do 99 next week. Okay. And then 2 weeks after that is 100, and then the season ends like that week, and then 2 weeks after that, or a week after that, we do season finale. I think that works. Guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
We'll figure something out. We'll have a big episode 100.
See, I was hoping to have episode 100 at that time because it would be like right when I was finishing the Steins Gate rewatch, and I just wrote the 10 years later Hunter x Hunter at the same time, because those are obviously going to be 2 of my top anime. By the way, I'm announcing it here, not that you guys have to do this if you don't want to. I'm sure I can find people who will. I want episode 100 to be our top 10 anime.
Okay. I'm all about that.
I know you're about it.
Have we not done that before?
We have never done our top anime.
No.
Really?
No, we haven't.
Oh, wow.
God damn it. You're going to make me have to choose.
Have you watched 10 anime?
Hey, I've watched enough. I've watched enough. Yeah. I actually have watched enough anime to do that, but it's going to be a very odd looking list.
I'm excited.
Fuck, that's going to require a lot of thought.
So anyway, my dream was that coincides perfectly with me having just finished rewatching one of the things on my list and having just written a big article about another one of them, so I'll be perfectly situated for that episode. So if it doesn't happen at the beginning of October, then I have to rethink things. But yeah.
So this is because it's convenient for you, is what you're saying.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't give a shit about anyone else. Yeah.
At least we're on the same level here.
100%. Yeah.
But I don't like anything. This is gonna be so hard.
But yeah, I'm actually way more interested in Kate's top 10 because I want to see how close to 10 it gets.
It's gonna be so weird. It's gonna be so weird. I don't know if I feel strongly about anything anymore now I'm on the pills.
Yo, take the safe route and just list all of the Studio Ghibli movies.
That's not. I'm not. He said TV series.
I did not say that.
He did not.
Oh,
he just said anime. It could be anything.
Oh. I always think of that as TV series.
I mean, you can limit it to TV series if you want. I'm not going to stop.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm not including movies in mine.
That's fine.
Does it count what Netflix calls anime?
No.
No.
Can we do our top 10 Netflix original anime?
One more news item along those lines. I checked 7 Seas because I'm like, I haven't heard 7 Seas announce something in a hot minute this month. So I did happen to announce 3 things today, but they're all English language graphic novels, which they haven't been publishing a bunch of recently, but they used to. Published a whole bunch of stuff, but they just are I guess, dual publishing them with Hiveworks, which is a website that hosts very high quality English language webcomics. And they're releasing 3 different titles in book form. So I was surprised to see that's what they had up on.
Did that have a connection to Netflix?
Their website today on their Twitter account. And a bunch of people were just totally confused. And I'm like, oh, you're doing this again. Cool. Oh, you're doing Hiveworks books. Super cool. They published books for like Stand Still, Stay Silent, which is this cool, like, Nordic post-apocalyptic story, which is amazing. They publish a lot of very good English language graphic novels, and they've run a bunch of Kickstarters. To see them teaming up with Seven Seas, which is a partnership I did not know existed, is super cool. So some people were confused. I am delighted.
Anyway, DJ, since you are the other one who watches lots of stuff every season, do you feel like you're going to have like 2 hours of content to talk about this season next week, and then another 2 hours to talk about this season a few weeks after that?
2 hours? Probably not. I don't have a lot of strong feelings on this season as a whole. So,
because I wonder if
I guess it'll be a judgment call.
If we could just like lightning round some stuff now, and then do like a big retrospective on the season near the end of next month. Because I don't have shit to say about this season. I've watched 20 shows, and it's been 2 months of them, and I still have no thoughts.
Yeah, if
cool. I'm way behind on all my shows.
That little, we can do a bit of a lightning round. I don't know who you want to go first, or what we're even gonna lightning, but
wait, what's the next? What are we doing in the next episode?
Well, the next episode will be like the full talk about the whole season thing then, because it'll probably be, you know, at our current rate, the end of the season.
I mean, I hope not. I hope we can get well, just stick to your numbering plan.
I mean,
sure.
We go like a month or two between episodes at this rate, so...
No, we're not supposed to. I'm trying to get it to... Yes, I have to get us back onto a bi-weekly schedule.
Yeah, we'll do that in the triple digits. We'll be weekly in the triple digits. We need to say we'll be weekly, because when we said we'd be bi-weekly, we went to every 3 weeks, and then once a month, and then once every 5 to 6 weeks. So we need to say we're going to be weekly.
Weekly it is.
Yeah.
New season resolution. Oh man, I'm going to have to find another theme song again. Shit.
All right, anyone have anything this season that they want to talk about?
A couple episodes ago, what was it, episode 16 of 2 Year Journey? I don't know, the animation went to fucking shit.
That was like last week or 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
they, like,
holy
didn't
crap, I haven't seen off-model animation
I wasn't
like
sure
that
if it was
forever.
just me, but I'm glad to hear that you guys also saw that, because I didn't want to say anything.
It had looped animation in the same fucking scene.
So many cutaways, they like made sure not to animate any contacts. They would just cut away.
Oh, it was so bad. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Did you give it to the interns?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
They must have been very behind.
Oh. They were must have been. I'm like, oh man, time crunch is showing, guys. This is bad. Like, oh, they were so off model. It was so terrible looking. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm like, man. That hurt. Yep. Slime spent the whole first half of the season in meetings.
That's true.
7 whole episodes of people talking to each other. In meetings. One meeting that lasted the entire course of that day, and you actually watched time pass over the course of like 3 or 4 episodes.
Sounds like what I do every fucking day.
Right.
They started the meeting in the morning, and they were out, like outside in the garden, and time goes on, and then they stopped for like a dinner break, and then went back to continue the meeting at the dinner. I'm like, oh my god, we've been in this meeting for 3 whole episodes. And then the next episode was the bad guys having like a discussion meeting for the entire episode. Or not bad guys, but like an antagonistic force having a discussion for a whole episode. I'm like, this is kind of funny. It all looked fantastic though. Like, the set design and all that shit looked amazing. I'm like, okay, and 2 Year Journey's over here shitting the bed.
Well,
and Slime's over here looking beautiful.
Anything. Everyone was just sitting around talking.
No,
they got to make it look
like,
nice.
Yeah, but they got to like do pretty scenery, and the chairs had little slimes in the back, and the garden scenes, and it was all very pretty, and the music was cute. I'm like, wow, this is more effort than they needed to put into this, but they kind of had to, because it's like 7 episodes of people just sitting around talking and eating.
Right.
That's the only thing I'm watching right now. I had 2 other series I wanted to be watching this summer, but I haven't gotten around to Vanitas or Otome game villain girl lady that whatever that's called. Katarina. I'm so far behind.
Okay.
Anyway.
How are we are we proceeding with the lightning now?
Yeah, that was part by lightning. I'm all lightning. That was it.
So that's everything.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
I'll do mine then. I'll just 5 seconds on each show that I guess I want to mention stuff. Starting with The Detective is Already Dead. The show's confusing. I don't know what it's doing. Not in that the story's hard to follow or anything, but it's like it starts with an epilogue and then we're in a prologue now in the second arc, and it's just all over the place, and I don't really know why they're ordering it the way they are. Next, Uramichi Onisan. Fun. Just fun show. Nothing else to say. It's just fun. Sunny Boy. Super creative, super artistic. Feels like Satoshi Kon, and I am all about it. Blue Reflection Ray. Anime is not as good as I wanted it to be, but there is a new game that was just announced, and that is making me very happy.
When I saw that got announced, I was like, uh-oh, I know who's happy about that.
I did not ever expect it because 10 people bought the first Blue Reflection, and I will buy all of the new copies if no one else buys. To Your Eternity. Fun. I like it a lot more than I did at the beginning of the show. I'm not a big fan of the arc that just ended, but I did like the Gugu Marine arc a lot, and so that was enough to keep me in. My Hero's boring now.
Yeah.
That's nothing else really to say about that. It's boring, but it's still My Hero, so it's still fun. Tokyo Revengers, also fun. Borderline nonsensical at times, but it has a compelling story that it's a lot better if you don't poke at the loopholes, and there are many of them. Kageki Shoujo, biggest surprise of the season. It's about the Koka troupe, which is basically the opposite of kabuki theater. It's an all-female just acting troupe, and it is super dramatic. It's pure character drama, and it is so much darker than I ever thought it would be, and you can really just tell that it's a huge passion project from the creators. Love Live Superstar, I love it. It shouldn't exist. Higurashi no Nakukoro ni Sotsu, it's weird. If you are an avid listener of the podcast, all 4 of you, you will have remembered the reactions I had to the first part of this show. Now we're in the second part of it, and it is completely different, but also exactly the same thing. And I like it, but it kind of makes the original series, it kind of invalidates a lot of it in a way, because it sort of shows us that things were not as we may have thought they were, if you consider this telling the story canon, and telling what is canon in Higurashi is absolutely impossible.
Yeah. So what Kane maybe was asking me earlier about Rebuild of Evangelion versus the original, I don't understand Higurashi, but I think it's the same concept.
Okay, that makes sense. Remake Our Lives. Big surprise for me. It's kind of like Welcome to the NHK meets Real Life. And those are 2 good shows. And it's about kids in art school making a visual novel, and that is how you appeal to me. Also, 2 of the bands from Bang Dream do the opening and ending, and I love that. But I don't love it as much as my number 2 and my number 1. Number 2 is the new Mario Kata, but not Mario Kata show from PA Works that is going to make me cry by the end of the season. It's super well animated. Cute girls like always, because it's a PA Works show, and they're very good at water. So watch that if you like any of the working girl type shows that they have done, because it is one of those, and it is, I don't want to say just as good as the rest of them, because one of them I'm going to be talking about in my top 10 of all time on our 100th episode, but it's still a great show overall for me. But it does not measure up to the second season of Magia Record, which I will say is one of the best things I've seen. It's blowing me away. I know I liked the first season a lot, but this is on a completely different level just in terms of production and the way it's been directed so far. Every episode feels like a movie. I want to say it's the nicest looking thing Shaft has ever done. I haven't seen all of the Bakemonogatari stuff though, so I could be wrong. But what I have seen so far is absolutely mesmerizing, and I am very excited to finish the season. It's only going to be 8 episodes, but we already have a confirmed season 3 afterward, and it's just, I am utterly speechless with what I have seen from this show so far. So if you liked the first part of Magia Record, you will like the second part much more, and the characters from the original series play a much larger role in this season than they did in the first. The first episode of season 2 was literally all just original Madoka characters, none of the new ones. So that was cool. But yeah, that's my lightning round, which was slightly lightning-y, I guess.
It was pretty lightning-y.
All right, cool.
The 2 shows I'm
anybody
watching.
got recommendations?
I was gonna say.
Oh shit, we haven't done DJ. Sorry.
I was gonna say the 2 shows I'm watching are fun, except they both have sexual assault
Kane,
in them,
sorry.
and I don't like that.
Which show has sexual assault in it?
Vanitas has it, and so does Urumichi Onisan. One is played for a joke, and the second is like I almost dropped the show because I was just like, I don't have time to deal with this fucking horse shit. I didn't, and Vanitas is still fun and has an interesting world and lore, and Urumichi Onisan has been really funny, except for another poor display of an LGBT character that sexually assaults and harasses another of the main characters, and they play it as a joke, so
gross.
I don't really like that at all. But other than those elements, the shows are fun. It's just, it was hard to kind of like finish the episodes that each of those were involved in, despite the fact that they're very enjoyable otherwise.
Man, I don't remember. Of course, I don't know. I think I need to catch up with Vanitas. I have a bunch of the manga volumes I have not read.
Oh, I'm sure depending on who you ask, they'll have different definitions of what sexual harassment and assault is.
Well, it's also, shoujo.
They definitely play it weird in Vanitas.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because, yeah, she puts up weird shit in her manga. But.
And then Uramichi is just the classic, oh, this person is gay, so this dude is gay. Or I think it might be a trans character. They're not very good at making that clear. But either way, it is a depiction of a very masculine person wearing feminine makeup and stuff, and then is voiced by a male Sayu, and then sees a cute boy character and proceeds to harass them, and then at one point sexually assaults them in another room, and then the guy comes out and he's like, that was hell, and it was clearly supposed to be like a joke.
Yeah, that part I didn't like, but the character in general, I feel like there's a strange disconnect, because that is a type of person that hangs out in the red light districts of Tokyo. We don't have a fashion thing like that here. It's just like a thing there. So those people do exist. And it's not like that's just their depiction of LGBT characters. It is a specific type of character who intentionally acts that way.
But I mean,
and we don't really have anything like that. So it's going to seem odd to us. But I think the reason that there are so many of those characters isn't because they're just blatantly bigoted, but because those are people that are in red light districts of Tokyo and stuff.
But I think the more important part of Kane's point is that it is an extremely prevalent anime trope that if there is a gay character, he's going to rape a straight boy. That is what they do.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly that should not exist.
Yeah.
But
and
the character itself, I don't think is a problem. It's the way that character specifically conducted themselves.
Yeah, and that's good information to have, so I appreciate that. I think what makes it more prevalent to bounce off of Kestrel is that if there were more like gay characters in shows that weren't that, it would be easier to be like, that's a specific type of person that is in Japan. But it seems like more often than not, the gay character is this character. There are no normal LGBT people, or at least there is a dearth of them compared to this type of person.
It's definitely not normalized in their fiction, where unless it's a show about people being gay, it's not normal for characters to just be gay and that not be like their whole quirk. It's like, oh, they're the gay one. They do the gay things.
Yeah, not that we're good at it over here in the States either. Like,
yeah, that's
we're
bad.
not great, but
we're not great at it.
We've gotten a little further than general anime has at this point.
Yeah, so it was just kind of, it took me out of the show. That's all. Like, I love the show in general, and the jokes, and the fact that the show keeps running, even though all these really weird exchanges are happening between Uromichi and the kids. And the director's just like, oh, yes, very good content.
This is what we want.
That's what we're looking for. And the parents are just like, yes, this is what we want. But it was just that character. I was like, oh, this is clearly not going to go anywhere that I want to go. And lo and behold, that is what happened. So that just is what it is. And then, yeah, in Vanitas, the main character, I can't remember his name. Is it Vanitas?
Yes.
Probably. Okay.
Yes.
And Noe is the other one, yeah.
Yeah, in Noe, he like corners the Noe character, and she's clearly panicking, and he just like is all
Jean.
up on her. Yeah, so it's just that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that series is full of sketchy people, though, so at least there's some kind of context for, like, people being sketchy and fucked up.
But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, all the stuff at the top of my list is from previous seasons. To Your Eternity, One Piece has had some of its best episodes ever in the past few months. Still love Tokyo Revengers. New stuff, mostly sequels. First stuff that's at the top of that list, Kobayashi, Slime. The third season of Kingdom, also continuing from last season, is near the top of my list. Love Live Superstar, another fucking Love Live show that I'm watching and not hating, and I hate that fact. Iromakun season 2 still going on from last season, still decent. As for brand new stuff, yeah, Vanitas and Remake are pretty good. And then I'm watching a bunch of other stuff that's all just kind of like, yeah, it's fine, I guess.
That everything? Lightning round over?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Spectacular. Alright. Anybody have any recommendations?
Well, I recommend that you go watch all 4 Rebuild of Evangelion movies on Amazon Prime. There are also several Hideaki Anno documentaries that were put up to kind of coincide with them. One of them is 2 50-minute episodes of this NHK show called The Professionals, where they, I think, did one on Miyazaki previously. And the special, as Amazon in the US labels it, is like Hideaki Anno, the final challenge of Evangelion or something. That's got some really interesting content in understanding him and his creative process and the world he's building. And just how they made the final movie. And then the other one is 2 40-minute episodes of him, like, kind of being interviewed by, having a little chat with a Japanese comedian. I think his name's Hitoshi Matsumoto. So it's called, like, Hideaki Anno, Hitoshi Matsumoto Fireside Chat, or whatever. 2 40-minute episodes. There's maybe, like, 5-10 minutes of good content in the total of it. It's mostly just them, like, nerding out about shit they grew up on, which is cool, I guess, but there's a little bit of, like, interesting creative theory being discussed as well. But definitely the final challenge of Evangelion 1 is the one to check out if you only look at one. And also, if you weren't one of the 5,000 people who bought the Evangelion Ultimate Edition Blu-ray for $300 in the 8 hours that it was up before all 5,000 sold out, then on August 30th, they are going to be listing the standard editions of the Blu-rays, so check those out.
My recommendation is unrelated to anime, but I recommend that everyone get a blue tongue skink because I just got one and it is the fucking best. He's so cool.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to see pictures.
I will post them here. Don't worry.
That's a great recommendation.
Cool. How many pets did you just get?
Did I just get?
Yeah.
I just got 2, but we also just lost one. Our rabbit died last week.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's very sad.
It came out of fucking nowhere too. Like I was just waking up to go to the other house and he was making weird noises and we brought him to the emergency vet and the next day he died.
Aw,
Yeah.
that sucks, man. How old is your bunny?
Bunny was 7. So it was,
Oh, that's
it was like the end
that's not
of
bad.
like bunny life was approaching anyway. But like
I
it's fucking rabbits have a thing where like their teeth just sometimes grow the wrong way, and
Whoa.
yeah, it like just blocked off his airwaves.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
It's fucked up.
was really sad. But I have a lizard now, and I'm getting a snake in 2 weeks. So, yeah,
Yay, what kind of snake?
ball python.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
Did I not see something about a dog? I just make that up?
We got a puppy as well.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. There's 3 pets, yeah.
Yeah, we
You guys kinda left that out,
we got
yeah.
the lizard and the dog within 2 days of each other.
That's what I thought. I thought there was a lizard, a dog, and a snake. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
lizard obviously it just stays in my room. Dog is very high maintenance.
Right.
Puppies are they're
Yeah,
hell.
puppies are. Yeah. I wanted to adopt a cat, but she got adopted before I could get her.
Ooh.
Ooh.
You want mine?
Better luck next cat. What, you don't like your cat?
I just don't like having pets. My cat's alright as cats go.
My cat is alright as cats go.
I mean, that's pretty much a glowing review for most cats.
Right. Not the biggest asshole.
All cats are amazing.
She's very cute.
Oh, yeah, I have one too, but I also recognize they can be big ol' assholes.
I mean, yeah, they are little murder machines and, neurotic, so that happens sometimes. I have a recommendation, not anime related. Psychonauts 2 came out yesterday. I've only played an hour and a half of it, but it is very good. I had forgotten it had been so long since the original Psychonauts came out that I forgot like all the mechanics and like the game trappings of that, and so I started playing the new one. I'm like, oh yeah, these things. Oh yeah, these things. Yeah, go play that game. That game's cool. That's it. That's my recommendation.
I have I have 2, sort of. So the first one is buy Katsuhiro Oto's Memories on Blu-ray, thanks to Discotech. And then also buy Gunbuster when it comes out, thanks to Discotech. And then watch that.
I did just watch Memories for the first time on that Blu-ray this week. It's a very good restoration, very good dubs, very good features. The first of the 3 segments is something any Satoshi Kon fan should watch.
Yoko Kanno did the music for that too, I think, right?
Yep. Very star-studded staff across that project.
Indeed. So yeah, and then also get Robot Carnival when it comes out on 4K, thanks to Discotech. I wonder if they'll just start paying me if I keep doing this for a while.
Probably not.
Probably not, but a boy can dream. But yeah, those are my recommendations, mostly all old things.
Yeah. So Kane recommends all Discotech, I recommend all Evangelion, and DJ recommends all Reptiles.
Yes, correct.
That's great variety.
All on
We got
brand.
all variety. Everything is covered.
The 3 essentials. Alright, I think that's everything. You can find us anywhere you find podcasts. Subscribe, rate, and review. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Alexa, fandompost.com. Check out our last episode where we have the three of us boys in the same room. And then a bunch of interviews. A bunch of interviews with a bunch of voice actors from Otakon, all from Otakon. And then a 1 minute outro of me by myself, very tired because I just got home. Yeah, and you can find us on social media, Twitter and Facebook at Fanpost Radio. Follow us there, share our stuff. Get in contact with us. I'll be putting out some feelers for people's top 10 lists to include on our show. And yeah, also get in contact with us via email, fanpostradio@gmail.com. And I am on Twitter at FullMetalKilma.
I am on Twitter at DJ No Style.
I am on Twitter at SonicBug.
I don't have Twitter.
Kane is exclusive to this podcast.
Indeed.
Soon to be acquired by the Sony Group Corporation.
That would be amazing.
Oh man.
They just buy Kane.
Could we? I want to get paid.
They just buy me to complain about the difference between seasons and cores.
Alright, cool. Thanks for joining us. Tune in next time for... Oh, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when the next episode goes up. We've been doing a stellar summer season. Really.
It's going to be a month from now at the end of the season. You know it. We all know it.
Oh, I hope not.
Also, I'm going to be gone for like a week and a half in September, so...
Oh, okay. So that's how it is.
The train's already fallen off the tracks.
Oh, man.
Alright.
Just have a side episode that doesn't have a number.
Ooh.
Don't do that. I hate when people do that.
Talk about...
A B-side.
B-side. Alright, thanks for joining us. Send us some feedback and tune in next time to Fandom Post Radio. Thanks, bye.
Bye.